I'm Teisha Bader with Shalom TV's News Update. IDF forces fired on Palestinians who approached the security barrier between Israel and Gaza in the northern Gaza Strip on Friday. The IDF spokesperson's unit said the soldiers had first tried to distance the Palestinians with riot dispersal means, but the Palestinians continued to advance, ignoring the soldiers' warnings. A spokesperson said the IDF soldiers acted according to the rules of engagement, first shooting warning shots in the air and then were resorted to shooting towards the approaching Palestinians' legs. Gaza medical officials said that 5 Palestinians had been lightly to moderately injured in the incident. AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, praised a bipartisan letter urging President Obama to continue pressure on Iran, which has now been signed by 74 U.S. senators. The letter urges implementation of all existing U.S. sanctions against Iran and the adoption of tough new measures to further its diplomatic isolation. It also calls on the president to press the regime to fully implement UN Security Council resolutions, including suspending uranium enrichment. The senators also asked the president to reiterate his readiness to use all elements of national power should Iran not comply. The letter was sent to the president on Thursday. It was spearheaded by Senators Robert Menendez of New Jersey, Joseph Lieberman of Connecticut, and Kelly Ayotte of New Hampshire. The senators wrote to the president, "We believe there is no national security challenge that is more urgent and essential to resolve during your second term than Iran's pursuit of a nuclear weapons capability. We share your commitment to preventing Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon and strongly agree with your statement that the clock is ticking, and if the Iranians do not meet the demands of the international community, then we are going to take all options necessary to ensure they don't have a nuclear weapon." Canada's Jewish community applauded the Canadian government for listing Iran's elite army as a terrorist organization. On Thursday, Canada's Prime Minister Stephen Harper and Minister of Public Safety Vic Tooze announced that the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Quds Force, or IRGC-QF, the elite unit of the Iranian regime's army, would be listed as a terror entity under the criminal code, making it the first time a terror group directly linked to the Iranian regime has been added to such a list. CEO of Bnai Brith Canada, Frank Diamond, said that Bnai Brith Canada had been working for quite some time to get the group classified as a terror organization, and said that Canada's decision to do so was an important step in combating terror. Diamond cited the Quds Force involvement in the murder of innocent Jews across the globe, including in Argentina, India, and most recently in Bulgaria. He said while most terrorist groups are not directly affiliated with any government, the IRGC-QF has direct ties to the present Iranian regime, characterized by its support for international terror, nuclear threats, and genocidal intent towards Israel and the Jewish people. He further said, "We call on all other governments to follow Canada's leadership role in the global fight against terror." And staying with Canada, Jewish Canadian Parliament member and former Justice Minister Erwin Cotler addressed an international conference in Sweden on Wednesday, marking the official closing of the Swedish government's year honoring Raoul Wallenberg, the Swedish diplomat and humanitarian who is credited with saving the lives of tens of thousands of Jews during World War II. Cotler paid tribute to the hero and spoke of the pursuit of justice and taking action against injustice in today's world. Cotler specifically mentioned the hate speech and state-sanctioned incitement of Ahmadinejad's Iran and its need to be sanctioned under international law.
That Iran has already committed the crime of incitement to genocide prohibited under the Genocide Convention. That was the conclusive finding of fact. And then the Parliament went on to say that state parties to the Genocide Convention, like Sweden, like Canada, are obliged, that it's not a policy option, are obliged to undertake the mandated legal remedies to bring Iran and its leadership to account.
He also called on Sweden to sign the Ottawa Protocol to combat anti-Semitism and called for the establishment of a Raoul Wallenberg International Center for Justice, with links to the 4 countries of Wallenberg's citizenship and honorary citizenship, namely Sweden, the U.S., Canada, and Israel. And that's Shalom TV's news update. I'm Teisha Bader.